Right now, as you watch this, there is a voice in your head. It may be reading along with these words, it may be commenting on them, it may be asking, is this going to be interesting? You've had this voice your entire life. You've never questioned it. You've assumed it was you. But here's what nobody tells you. That voice has a different origin than you think. It has a different purpose than you think, and it may not be telling you the truth. Most people, when asked what their inner voice is, will say something like, it's just me. It's how I think. And that feels completely true. The voice feels so close, so constant, so personal, that separating yourself from it seems impossible. It's there when you wake up. It's there when you're anxious. It's there when you replay a conversation from 3 years ago at 2 a.m, and suddenly you know the perfect thing you should have said. But psychology has been quietly studying this voice for decades, and what research has found is strange. Not just interesting strange, unsettling strange, because the voice in your head, it doesn't always know what it's doing, and it doesn't always have your best interests in mind. The scientific name for what most people call the inner voice is inner speech. And for most of history, scientists avoided studying it, because how do you study something invisible? How do you measure a thought? But in the 1990s, neuroscientist Charles Fernyhough began a systematic study of inner speech. What he found changed the field. First, not everyone experiences inner speech the same way. Most people have a near constant verbal inner monologue, but roughly 25% of people report having almost no inner verbal voice at all. They think in images, sensations, or emotional impressions instead. This alone is fascinating, because it means the thing you've assumed is universal, the voice, isn't even present for 1 in 4 people. But for those who do have it, the voice isn't just narrating, it's constructing. Here's where it gets strange. When you hear your inner voice, your brain activates many of the same regions it uses when you hear real speech. This was discovered using brain imaging technology. Researchers found that inner speech triggers Broca's area and Wernicke's area, the same regions involved in producing and understanding spoken language. In other words, your brain is partially treating your inner voice as if it were an external sound. Not a thought, a sound, something heard, not generated. There's a word for this in psychology, condensed speech. Your inner voice is a kind of compressed, fast version of talking to yourself, but your brain processes it in a similar way to how it would process someone else speaking to you, which raises a deeply uncomfortable question. If your brain processes the inner voice the way it processes external sound, how confident are you that the voice is coming from you? In 2011, a landmark study by psychologist Russell Hurlburt used a method called Descriptive Experience Sampling. Participants carried a beeper. Every time it went off, they had to stop and describe exactly what was happening in their consciousness at that precise moment. Not what they thought was happening, not what they assumed was happening, what was actually happening. The results were shocking. Most people discovered they had almost no accurate awareness of their own thinking. They would assume they had been having a continuous inner monologue, but when the beeper interrupted them, many reported nothing, no voice, no words, just a vague sense of emotion or image. The continuous voice they believed they had was a story they were telling themselves about their consciousness, not the consciousness itself. This is called retrospective confabulation, the mind filling in a narrative for experiences that weren't actually verbal at the time. In other words, you may not be listening to a continuous voice at all. You may be remembering a voice that wasn't always there, and your brain is stitching it into a seamless story. So what is the inner voice actually doing? Researchers now believe it serves several distinct functions. 1. Self-regulation. The inner voice helps you rehearse behaviour before acting. Children first use it externally, talking themselves through tasks out loud. Over time, it goes internal. The voice becomes a coach. 2. Emotional processing. When something distressing happens, the voice often activates intensely. It's not just narrating, it's attempting to make sense of what you feel by turning emotion into language. 3. Social simulation. A significant portion of inner speech is actually rehearsed conversation. Imagine dialogue with other people. Your brain is running a constant social simulation, practicing what to say, predicting how others will react, defending yourself in arguments that haven't happened yet. This is why you can have an entire fight with someone in your head and feel genuinely angry, even though nothing happened. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between the simulation and the event. Here is what this means for you. The voice in your head is not your identity. It is a tool, a function, a narrator your brain constructed to help you navigate the world. But the narrator is not the author. The voice labels your experiences. It predicts, it rehearses, it regrets, it worries. But it is not the deeper part of you that observes the voice itself. Right now, as you notice the voice, something is watching it. Something is aware of it that, researchers argue, is closer to who you actually are. Not the voice, the awareness behind it. You came here because something felt off. Because you had the strange sense that the voice you've lived with doesn't always feel like you. Now you know why. And that feeling, that moment of stepping back from the voice, has a name in neuroscience. It's called metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking, to watch the voice rather than just be it. Most people never learn this. But here's what makes this stranger. The voice doesn't just narrate the present, it also tells you about your past, your memories, who you were, what happened to you. And the next video reveals something that might disturb you even more. Your memories aren't records, they're reconstructions. And your brain has been quietly editing them your entire life. Your memories feel like recordings. They're not. Find out what your brain has been quietly changing and why in the next video. If this felt like something you've always sensed but couldn't explain, subscribe. That's what this channel is for. Tell me, does your inner voice sound like you?